Well, it'd be better if the police were doing their job. Honestly.
I got you.
Say respectfully.
Yeah, I know we've had this conversation before.
Yeah, and you were respectful. You listened for a while.
Yep. Hey, just got a call about the megaphone.
It's not even that loud. I mean, I'm not even using it. Probably even half of what it was.
I know.
So, I know it's and you know it's a very general ordinance.
Yep. So I mean, I'd appreciate it. You just help me out, okay? That's all I'm asking. Can you say if I'm breaking the law by using it? Like I'm using it pretty low. I'm kind of using this on to use my voice, and I'm not, like I said, I'm not using it even that loud. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
I just appreciate it if you just don't use it.
I understand that. But can you appreciate why I am using it?
I do understand.
Is the question, can you use the megaphone?
Well, it's more of it's a general ordinance. It's very vague and.
So if you cannot use anything to amplify your voice, is the way I've been explained it by a supervisor. So it's considered disorderly conduct if you use it to amplify your voice.
So even a cone? Like even using the cone? Like
cone is amplifying your voice, so yes, I would say that would also be considered disorderly conduct.
Wow, okay. That's a lot of cities that would not be free because freedom of speech.
And that's the way we understand it here.
It's
for sure the megaphone, and I was just out here yesterday with someone else with the megaphone. It wasn't you, but I think that as a whole, the group has been warned a little more than once that the megaphone is not, for sure, not allowed, right?
That's not what I've been told before. It's just they said that if it disturbs the peace, it's very. They didn't say I couldn't use it. Just like be careful, and so it's very vague.
I got you.
But I really haven't been told I can't use it. And I've looked at the ordinance. It doesn't say anything that you can't use it. Just if it disturbs the peace. What does that mean? And it's like, well, the peace is being disturbed in this building, and you know that from our talk before.
Yes.
And I mean, this is Sunday. Officer, is it Madsen? Your hand's covering your name up. Madsey, okay. Madsey, this is a Sunday on the Lord's Day, and it's a bloodbath here.
I know.
It's a bloodbath.
We've talked about this before, okay?
Well, but before it wasn't Sunday, but today it's Sunday.
I know. So, and like my partner just explained it, it's the way our supervisor worded it to us to pass along, okay? It's just, you can't use it to amplify your voice. I understand that you don't want to hurt your voice. I get why you said you were using it in the first place, okay?
Yeah.
But just not using it, okay?
Okay.
All right.
I mean, just thinking about that, Officer Madsey. This is, you may know the U2 song, Sunday, Bloody Sunday. Mm-hmm. It's a famous song. I used to listen to it on the radio before God saved me. That's what this is. This is Sunday, Bloody Sunday. Mm-hmm. And this is a bloodbath. I've seen so many people come in to murder their children. And hopefully just think about that. Like, not just that it's Sunday. I mean, it was a bloodbath yesterday, you know that. And just, it's like, what are we doing? I mean, I want to say this respectfully, Officer Madsey. We're more concerned about the use of a megaphone and disturbing the peace when the ultimate peace is being disturbed when babies are having their heads cut off. I mean, just something to think about. Doesn't that just seem crazy?
I get what you're saying. I know we had this conversation a couple weeks ago.
This is a little different. It's a little different.
It's a little different, but I get what you're saying. I get where you're coming from. All that.
Yeah.
I'm just, like I said, I'm out here responding to a call that I got.
I understand that.
Coming to talk to you, and I'm going to talk to everybody else. Just make sure we're all on the same page here. And
well, respectfully, we're not. And I'm not trying to be mean.
I know.
We're not on the same page. If we were, then you would. If I was an officer, I'd block that driveway with my police car.
Yep.
And I would do my job, and doing my job, I'd be fired. Mm-hmm. As crazy as that is. And if I became an officer, it'd be like a suicide mission. I mean, I'd be fired immediately for doing my job. Mm-hmm. And that's what our sin has done to us as a nation. That if the police actually do their job, and serve and protect people in the womb being murdered, they're going to lose their job. Mm-hmm. As crazy as that is. And so we're waiting on a law to be changed. Well, it's not law, but yeah, I know we talked about that before, but just so many babies are being murdered today. And I appreciate the freedom of speech I have to speak up, but it grieves me to see police not doing their job.
I got you.
And I know you got a family to feed. Well, I think you said you weren't married, but many have families to feed. I understand that, but you don't want to feed your family with blood money, by protecting. And there are officers who are jerks. There are officers who are a lot. They're tyrants. I wouldn't. I'm going to say that of you because you've been polite, reasonable. But just think about that. Like, what is my duty as an officer, as I talked to you about before, in light of this evil and all these children that are being murdered? Babies are having their heads cut off right now. You know how hard that is for me, Officer Madzi, to not go beyond that sidewalk?
I know. We talked about this last time too.
I don't know if I mentioned that one.
You did.
I did.
It was
Okay.
very short.
Okay.
But
you know how hard that is for me to know that if I actually act like people are being murdered and go in there, then I'm gonna go to jail.
Yeah.
And I can't do this anymore. You know how hard that is for me?
Yeah.
It's like I'm doing what I can without going to jail, but it's like, am I still doing what a man would do in this situation? It's like a catch-22.
Mm-hmm.
And because even if police would say, well, they're not going to hassle me about doing their job, serving and protecting the public, that they're going to come and arrest me for doing their job. And I think you said before you're a Christian, if I'm not mistaken, if my memory serves correctly. And that's just ask yourself, and if I'm mistaken, correct me, but about you being a Christian, just ask yourself, what does a Christian and a Christian officer do in this situation? And you may not like the answer.
I know.
You probably won't like the answer.
I still, actually, you know what? I was just thinking about this
Yeah.
when I was coming over, because I said your name over our radio, and I was like, I remember talking to Nicholas. He was a kind enough guy. We had a good conversation.
Yeah.
We had a pretty decent long conversation.
I appreciate that. Yeah.
We were out here for a while, and you gave me some reading material and stuff like that. I actually still have that in my car over here.
Yeah.
Just hanging out, and I've looked at it a couple times, but at the end of the day, I'm told what I got to do, and I do what I got to do, right? And I got to come out here and say, hey man, can't use the megaphone. I understand you don't want to hurt your voice.
Yeah.
I do understand that, okay?
Yeah.
But you can't use it.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to, follow through with what I have to do if you keep using it. Okay? It's not something I want to do today. I want to let you do what you want to do here, but within reason.
Well, within reason is.
Yes.
And one day, Officer Madzi, one day, maybe you'll understand that. I understand you're in a hard spot.
Yep.
But there have been officers, not many, but just a few, who turned in their badges, lost their jobs because they couldn't just stand by with their hands in their pockets when babies were being when the preborn public were being mass murdered. And they recognized these Christians are doing my job. And so I appreciate you being respectful and listening, but just all of us, you're going to have to give an account to God. You have a position of authority I don't have. And talk to fellow officers and say, if our job is to protect the public, born and preborn, we're not protecting the public here when they're being mass murdered.
Probably what's going to happen here, and this is what I'm guessing, I'm going to talk to my supervisor obviously, but as of right now, all I'm planning on doing is documenting that I came out here, talked to you guys, we explained what the issue was, and that you guys were agreeable and are willing to work with me and with us, and just not stop and pause in the driveway.
I'll do what I can. It's going to be hard not to pause for a second or two.
I know.
It's, when my mind's is the baby's, it's a life or death situation for that baby. It's kind of hard to think, am I moving? Just because my mind's focused on that baby who I'm trying to rescue.
Hold on, but you can assign one to me, please.
So I'm just saying it's kind of hard to be focused on that and trying to rescue this baby from being murdered. But
and then would you guys like me to provide you with the case number that's going to be documented under? Would you like that?
That's
it's
fine.
your call.
That's fine.
Okay.
So, what does it look like to be documented?
Really what it is your first, last name, birthday is going to be in your system, obviously. because
It's not already there?
Forever. It probably is. It probably is. But if you've never had interactions with the police before, then it's going to be documented in our system. It's just going to basically say, I came out here, I spoke with you two. We talked about what the issue was while we were called out. You guys agreed to work with us to resolve the issue, so we don't have to keep coming back out on the same thing. And then we left. Really, it's gonna be very short and sweet. Nothing too much.
Just to include in that report that the duty of the police is to serve and protect the preborn public. Just include that in your report so that other officers, I'm not sure who all will see it, but so they'll see that. Because that's just say that we are here doing the job of the officers who won't do it.
I will document in there that you verbalize that to me.
Yeah, that's
okay.
Yeah. Because that's why we're here, and you know that by now.
I know. I know. We've talked about it, but I will document that you verbalize that to me. All right?
It's, and also I think it's Matthew 24, where Jesus talked about 8 woes to the Pharisees. He said, "You strain out a gnat to swallow a camel," and I already kind of mentioned to you this morning, Officer Madzi, how sad it is that we're worried about a Christian using the megaphone or stepping in the driveway when babies are having that done to them, having their heads cut off. Straining out a gnat, swallowing a camel.
Nicholas, here's this, okay? This top number is going to be your WPD case number. That's what it's going to be documented under, okay? This down here, this is me, the officer that came out here, which we've already talked many times before.
That's your badge number.
And that's my badge number.
Gotcha.
Yep, which is painted on my badge already.
Yeah.
But I always write it down so people know exactly who they came and talked to. And if they don't remember my name, they have my badge number, they can look me up that way in our system as well, okay? Here's this for you. Do you want a copy as well, or are you okay with just taking a photo of his?
I'll take a photo of his.
Works for me,
Come
okay?
down to work for you.
Either way, I'm just out here trying to make sure everything stays okay, so we don't have any issues. All right, Nicholas, you have a good rest of your day. Okay, I hope I don't get called out anymore.
You can't make any promises. I mean,
know.
these people are murdering babies,
you can't
and
make promises. If it becomes a recurring issue, then I don't know what it's gonna look like moving forward. Okay.
I mean, all I can tell you, Officer Madzi, is I'm gonna keep trying to be a Christian and a man out here, and
You're gonna keep doing what
if that means I go to jail, if that means that cops come out here 10 times, I have to obey God, not man.
Yep. So.
We'll have to be a testimony.
And like I said, I'm perfectly fine with you guys talking to cars and having them move off to the side. That's fine. If they're willing to do that, go for it all day long. Okay? Just.
What do I do about the calls that she told me not to when I was actually talking to them?
I would say if you can keep kind of closer to the edge, you can like where you're at right now, perfectly cool with me. You're fine.
Is this fine here?
I would say no. Just be on the safe side of things.
Okay.
Okay. Not saying that I would call about it, but be on the safe side. I would have to say probably not.
Okay.
All right. But where you're at, cool. If you want to be on that side, cool. Because if they're leaving, then their driver's side's on that side. You know, if they're willing to stop and talk to you guys, pull down this way, pull down this way. You guys want to have a conversation, that's perfectly okay. Yeah, I've seen you guys talk to many people out there, and it's always been very civil and good conversation. It's never been attacking or anything like that. It's more.
We're not Antifa or BLM. We're Christians.
What? Sorry.
We're not Antifa or BLM. We're Christians.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
So we're naturally more civil.
Yeah. So it's good. I just I appreciate that you guys try to help me out and make my job a little bit easier as far as me having to come out and talk to you as many times, right? So, all right, I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna go document all this. Okay. Nice to meet you, Nicholas. I always shake your hand. It's always good to see you. Okay.
Yep.
You have a good rest of your day. All right.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So, definite clarification on it. All right.
Yeah.
So, you are not able to step out into the drive when a car is pulling in to affect the way that they are driving, or to make them to where they have to drive wider stepping out into the drive when the car pulls in. Okay. You are allowed to walk back and forth, but you cannot, when a car is pulling in or out of the drive, you cannot step out into the drive while a car is pulling in or out into the drive.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. That deals with the ordinance you're talking about before.
Yes.
Okay.
And I know you've been out here a couple times with the guys who have the table, right?
Yeah.
That's perfect. What they're doing is they're just doing what you guys are doing. They just have a table and they're sitting down.
Yeah.
And they're older guys, obviously, but they don't step out into the drive. The stepping out into the drive when cars are coming and going is the issue. Okay.
And all this would qualify, like, if I step into, like, this far,
Yeah.
that would be...
That's considered the drive.
Okay. Just to clarify.
Yep.
Okay.
So basically from this crack of the sidewalk
Yeah.
to the one that's on the edge of that fence line
Okay.
over there is all considered their drive.
Okay. So you can walk back and forth, but if cars are coming in or coming or going, you cannot walk into the drive to offer them, even if you're not blocking them.
Correct.
Just to clarify.
Correct.
Okay.
And like I said, if they want to pull off to the side and talk to you, that is perfectly okay. That is the driver of that vehicle's decision to do
Yeah.
so.
Okay.
Okay? And I will be sitting over here just keeping an eye, making sure that we're all good, okay?
Okay.
Please don't tell your child.
Oh, you probably understand that grieves me, officer. So
What?
it's grievous.
I know.
It's grievous. But it doesn't really matter if it grieves me, it grieves God.
Yes.
It grieves God.
So, this is just clarification so we all understand. I want to make sure I advise you correctly
Okay.
on, so you guys aren't, you don't know. I want to make sure you guys understand.
Yeah.
So,
Again, officer, it's what's your first name? You don't mind.
Will.
Will. Okay. I think you told me before. Well, I'll just call you. You want me to call you Officer Madzi or Will?
You can just call me Officer Madzi.
Okay.
That's fine.
Officer Madzi, again, straining out a gnat to swallow a camel. That's just think about that.
I know.
That's we can't do this, can't do that, can't do that. But we're letting babies have their heads cut off. I mean, you don't have to answer me. I mean, you can if you want, but doesn't that just sound crazy? Doesn't that sound just insane? That's what our
Nicholas, I will tell you
that's what
what I've told you before. I understand where you're coming from. Okay.
On Sunday, the Lord's Day, and we're worried about restraining out a gnat swallowing a camel. We're worried about driveway, megaphone, but we're letting babies have their bodies torn into pieces. If they were doing this to dogs or cats, people would care. But babies, just think about how this is insanity. And the Bible says, "Woe to those who call evil good and good evil." And you seem, Officer Madzi, that this seems to bother you more than most officers. I'm not saying you're right because you're still neglecting your duty. I say that respectfully, but I just want you to think about all that. Just bring it before the Lord. Ask Him, Lord, what am I to do as a Christian officer? Now, I will say there are other officers who would have cited me, who would be harassing me right now. You're not doing that. I appreciate that. But at the same time, I don't want you to think that you're doing your job.
I know.
I would not be loving you if I gave you that impression.
You have explained that to me in depth before.
Okay, I don't want you to get the wrong idea.
I know.
I'm good to go. Well, no, because as long as these children are being slaughtered, a lot of them, then, but just think, what is my duty as an officer? And bring that before the Lord, because I don't have to answer to God for what you're doing, and likewise, but we all have to answer to God for what we did or did not do. Just like in Nazi Germany, they had to answer to God. And those who didn't do anything, those who enforced the lawlessness that Hitler made it legal to murder Jewish people, we made it legal to murder babies in the womb. And it saddens me to see the police and firefighters not doing their job. But
Don't do this to your child.
it's grievous.
I got you. Okay. So, like I said, I'm just gonna hang out in the parking lot across the street, make
Okay.
sure everything's being followed, and we're all good. Okay.
Oh.
Small allowances for extreme forgetfulness by any chance?
What's that?
I see what you're saying. Okay. That's the tough part is
Oh, she's got a baby in her back seat.
I can't.
I mean, you saw me take a minute to
Oh.
remember my birthday. That's
You're
happened
good.
twice in my life.
Okay. I would hope that the people who are out here with you will help remind. Okay. I get it. You get on kind of like a roll with it, and you just do it the same way. But I hope the people around you will help. Okay. All right. So, like I said, I'm just gonna be hanging out across the street, just making sure everything stays okay.
Take the time to read that literature. And
I'm gonna take the time to write this case,
okay.
and then I'm gonna actually look up what we were talking about over by your van a little bit ago.
Yeah,
So,
ask yourself, not to sound like a broken record or repeat myself, but ask yourself, what does a Christian do in this situation? What does a man do? And in your position, what does an officer of the law do? And maybe you may already know the answer, but just think about that. Because I can tell you, Officer Madzi, you don't want to, like, after you retire, after you've hung up your badge, you don't want to think, what could I have done? It's not easy now. Doing what God requires of you, what's pleasing to God, a lot of times it's very hard, very difficult. It's hard for me to be out here because I'm not a people person. I'm very introverted. I don't like crowds.
yeah.
And a lot of times I have to be out here by myself, not because I want to be. I don't want to be here. But Jesus said to deny yourself. And he said, greater love has no one than this, than that one laid down his life for his friends. And so ask yourself, I ask myself this a lot. Am I doing what I need to do, or am I going to have regrets? Am I doing everything I can to lay down my life for my friends, for my preborn neighbors? Am I denying myself, taking up my cross daily and following Jesus? And I don't know if I'm like, it bothers me to just stand out here on the sidewalk. It bothers me to not go in there. It bothers me to not try and do everything I can to rescue that baby. I mean, I'm doing legally everything I can. But again, I asked you this before. When the law is changed, that says if you come out here, you're gonna go to jail. Don't be that officer. Will you be that officer that comes out to arrest us? That comes out to arrest me? I hope not. I hope not. I hope not.
I cannot say one way or the other, Nicholas, okay?
Yeah.
But, all right, I'm going to head back to my car. I'm going to go start working on documentation for what we talked about, okay?
Okay.
And then,
You don't do this to your child.
all right, so